Hello users, and welcome back to Above It All, this series where I tell you how intelligent I am and how I am better than you at almost anything that we would both try. Like I think, you know how people say that they're a jack of all trades but they're a master of none? I'm a jack of all trades and I'm a master of everything. And you're going to see that in this video. So, anyway, Michigan cancels legislative session to avoid armed protesters. So, really, I don't see how this is anything but this is a Confederate secession here essentially. They are saying our state is shutting down because of an armed rebellion. It's bizarre to me that it's written in such a way and not in that way. But this is an article in Bloomberg, so they probably don't want to use that language. But this is interesting because this is a Republican majority chamber. And so, really, it's just about, I think, the governor that's the issue here. Because, and it's also that because the governor is a Democrat and one that's starting to gain national media attention, that people don't really, most people don't, as it is, understand their state legislature. But if it's a Democrat governor on the goddamn television, then they're all bad. It's one of those things where the Republicans don't care. For them, it's good optics. So that's why I think they're really, especially trying really hard to make this a bigger deal than it actually maybe otherwise would have been. And then, of course, you have the Democratic politicians, including the governor, are facing multiple death threats. And especially if you are bringing a gun to their office, the intent is to threaten violence. It's not a protest when you have an armed militia at the governor's office. That is not a protest. Now, I will say this explicitly. I do not necessarily mind them having all these kinds of guns. I think it is highly inappropriate. However, I am not against this fundamentally from happening. This is one of those situations where I'm pro-gun, but I'm anti-stupid people with guns. So this is one of those situations where if it were the music video for By the Time I Get to Arizona from Public Enemy, then, honestly, that's pretty badass, right? But it's not. It's a bunch of redneck, stupid, cocksucking, Trump-voting, astroturfing losers that are trying to get a badass photo op, make themselves feel get their mega dicks running, and then also threaten politicians to enact policy that will kill all of them. So it's not like they're working, and trying to, slay their oppressors for the sake of civil rights or anything like that. They are threatening to murder the state legislators and the governor over petty, media-hyped, bogus nonsense. And that's what's really just, I don't know, it's one of those situations where this is, for all intents and purposes, a coup. If they are not going to legislate because of armed protesters basically saying if you legislate we'll kill you, that's what happened to the whole Ronald Reagan thing of we will not negotiate with terrorists. The FBI is zooming in on Antifa when remember when Antifa bike lock! The left is evil! And now, the right wing is bringing a militia, an armed militia, to threaten to kill the governor, and they are just stopping legislation. Michigan is effectively, assuming this lasts, right? Assuming this is, the new normal, Michigan's effectively a failed state. You know what, I don't know, it's weird. This is weird. Why is no one talking about this? Obviously there's an article here, but this is May 14th this was written. This whole thing has, been going on since April 30th, I think is what it said, when the actual protest happened. And it's like, I don't know, I made a video about it. I thought it was a little bit, dumb. I thought it was very stupid of these people. But for them to actually cancel the legislative session, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But I mean, I don't know. This is a bad precedent only because it gives them these ideas going into other states. And this is going to be a very problematic time in American history. As Bernie Sanders said somewhat recently, this is probably the worst moment in the United States, just historically speaking, aside from possibly the Civil War. Like, just thinking throughout the history of this country, I I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you can make the argument that, of course, like, the country being an apartheid regime for, like, the first 100 years of its, like, existence is probably just, like, a net worse thing than what we're facing right now. But as far as, like, the mass death occurring and the mass suffering, I mean, this is awful. This is awful. And now we're having states at this point. And again, the context is what's crucial here. Like, states aren't, surrendering to Antifas that are trying to redistribute all of their fucking bogus high-paying salaries to the poor and homeless, and then bring in, like, all the homeless people in the state of Michigan to, turn the state capital into, like, a homeless shelter or something cool like that. No, these are right-wingers that say, coronavirus is a hoax. I want to go to Wendy's every day, and I want to go in the restaurant. Or I want to go to McDonald's. Remember, there was a shooting in Oklahoma where some dumb bitch was like, I want to eat my cheeseburger inside of the Mickey D's. And when they told her no, she shot the employees. Like, this is, like, these people are not doing anything for the sake of justice and for the sake of helping others. This is all just, like egotistical, maniacal, dumbass motherfuckers that think they're a part of Trump's movement to restore American freedom. This is so stupid. We live in a fucking... for all intents and purposes, this is a failed state. We do not live in a functioning country. Like, the United States may be a world superpower when it comes to military, but I mean, honestly, if the military is still in bed with a fascist government, if Trump wins a second term, which is increasingly looking more and more likely, given Joe Biden is just... Like, we thought Hillary Clinton was bad. Joe Biden is... I don't even want to go there. Watch my previous video. But, like, honestly, at what point is this too much? Yeah. I don't know.